Hello, everyone. Before we get into this episode of the Some Pulp Podcast, we'd like to issue a quick content warning.
In this episode, we briefly discuss programming in which suicide and self-harm are core elements of the narrative.
If this kind of content is potentially triggering for you, we would advise potentially watching or listening to another episode of the podcast.
We share the belief that your well-being and mental health should be treated as a priority in instances like this.
Included in the description for both the video and audio versions of the episode are several hotlines in case you need extra support.
Remember, it is never wrong to seek help, especially in crisis situations.
And with that being said, please enjoy the episode.
Welcome back to the third episode of the Some Pulp Podcast. I'm your host, Joe.
I'm your co-host, Josh Jones, and we are here with a new guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Claudia Vitale.
Awesome. Claudia, you want to give us anything
come on.
here? Oh, we should also be saying, we forgot to do this last week. We are a podcast in association with Ottonomous Productions, which is the premier film production company for Syracuse University.
And this is our production director.
Yes. Spicy stuff about myself. Not spicy stuff. I would say I'm a sophomore, I'm a Tier F major. A fun fact, like party trick, you know, people always do those.
Yeah.
I'd say I can talk with my mouth closed. That's always my
Can
fun
you
fact.
actually?
Can we get that?
I mean,
we can't.
No.
I mean,
okay, but you can tell. Hold on.
Daddy, you're stuck in the car and can't get out.
you're stuck in a what and can't get out?
Car.
A car.
Wow.
Wow.
That was pretty interesting.
I'm
Thank
very
you.
impressed.
Thank you. I try my
All right.
best.
So my one film question that I teased up earlier for you is, what is your favorite individual moment of a film?
Oh.
Something that either you were amazed by, something that really pushed you emotionally, and anything.
I've got it. I would say definitely the end of the Truman Show. The very last moment, I'd say, in the Truman Show, where it's just I don't want to spoil. Can I spoil it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's just standing there.
Spoiler
and-
alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, jump 30 seconds if you don't want another spoiler.
Yeah. So he's standing there, and he's finally realized his whole life is kind of a lie, and everyone's been acting and just kind of lying to him, and he has the choice to either stay and just continue with this lie, or to finally leave. And he's standing in the doorway, and he says his catchphrase throughout the entire movie, which has been, "Well, if I don't see you, good afternoon, good morrow, and good night."
Mm-hmm.
And then he bows and he curtsies and he leaves. That's my favorite moment. How powerful that is. Just I don't know, given the choice to stay with what you've always known or venture into the unknown, and he chooses to take that. That's so impressive. That's just so powerful to me.
Oh, that's cool. Are you getting a phone call?
I might be.
Wow.
I put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
That's so unprofessional of you.
I know it. No, it's on Do Not
You were a
Disturb.
guest on our podcast.
It's on Do Not Disturb.
This is your first episode on the podcast too.
I'm
this
a
is
little
pretty early on.
disappointed
First and
for
last
that.
house.
It's
is going.
fine.
You know
I
what?
move on. But I love that moment. That's amazing. I haven't seen The Truman Show in forever. I watched it 7th grade. We had this weird day where they're everyone, we're gonna watch. No, it was 8th grade. It was everyone, we're gonna watch The Truman Show. And we all went to a nearby movie theater.
You watched it?
And we
that
all
sounds
just
really fun.
It was really
That's
fun.
so much fun.
No, it was probably the best way to watch that movie.
I didn't have field trips like that.
Never saw the Truman Show.
Really?
Nope.
You missed. Oh, so you. Oh, wow.
That's
It's
my
another show you can add to my list.
That's so disappointing.
That's my inciting film moment. That's the movie I saw that was I want to go into film.
Oh, really?
My dad showed
wow.
my movie to me. I was 10 years old. And
Yeah.
I watched it. I slept on the couch every night for that week, and I watched that movie every night.
That's so
Wow.
cool.
It was so weird.
Is it was it engaging to you from a story perspective, cinematography, what is there a specific element about it that you were oh, now I want to go into film?
I think it was definitely the plot, and then also just the themes in it, and how great Jim Carrey is in that movie, and how all these people around him are just they make him seem like he's crazy, but really he's just the one who I don't know, he just wants more. I don't know. I think it's just kind of he was stuck in a very stagnant place for a long time, not of his own doing, and just the idea that despite that being all he knew, he still wanted to get out and he still wanted to venture out there, which I think is so brave. And a lot of people just stay where they are. I think it was a really powerful theme for 10-year-old little me, and also just it's beautifully shot. The colors everything looks so nice in it. So I think it was just, I want to make movies that make people feel the way that made me feel. So that was
awesome.
That was a
That's
decision.
awesome.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week on the podcast.
Yeah,
Really?
I remember,
yeah, sure.
the power of film and how it can affect a person, especially with the themes of a movie.
Definitely.
And, yeah, I love how every guest we've had on has seemed to say that same thing. We've only had 2 guests. They
Power
both have
of
said
movies.
that movies are probably the most powerful form of media out there.
I definitely agree.
I would agree. I feel
know-
like that's a common theme you'll find probably in your podcast. Just
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
serious. Every person.
I
Oh my
think
gosh,
it's becoming the theme.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, people who we bring on this podcast love movies and think that they're really cool.
That's crazy. It's a
No
film
way.
podcast.
Oh my God.
It's a film
Is
podcast.
this a film podcast?
Oh, since when?
Oh, Shoot, this is a
No.
film podcast. Oh wow.
I'm on the
I'm
wrong.
so
I
sorry.
think I'm in the wrong.
We should.
room.
I was here for lacrosse.
I thought this was a reading podcast.
Oh my god.
So
Bring it back to Jim Carrey for just like 2 seconds.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that many Jim Carrey films, but I love the films because, like, I mean, he's kind of known for being like, a goofy dude.
Yeah, 100%.
But I love the films where he's like super serious. Like Truman Show isn't like too serious, but like it's on the more like dramatic side of things than Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, you see those aspects of him that like, I don't know, he typically plays himself up and acts really crazy in a lot of his like funny movies, like Ace Ventura or like even The Grinch, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, but to see him act, I guess, more seriously or more dramatic roles or just like have more of a range than just like this funny comedic relief character,
Yeah.
it's still so comforting because like it's Jim Carrey.
Totally. Joe, have you seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
no, that's why I've been a little quiet.
I definitely felt like that was another like gray spot for you.
There's a lot of movies I haven't really seen.
Can we keep a counter in the corner? and
yeah.
like that?
How many movies I haven't seen?
Yeah.
The
a
little
lot.
ding every single time.
A lot. There's a lot of movies I haven't
Okay.
seen. I've
I agree.
seen
I'm
The
the same
Mask.
book.
The Mask.
I haven't seen The Mask. I'm
I've
with you on
seen
that
like
one.
the first 30 minutes of The Mask, like on Cartoon Network.
I
back
saw
in
the
day.
first 5 minutes of the Truman Show with my roommates, and then we realized we wanted to watch a scary movie, so we threw on
Oh.
The Shining instead.
That-
But
I respect your choice of scary movie, I would say at least.
it was the time for a scary movie.
All right.
I've seen
Mr. Popper's
Mr. Popper's
Penguins.
Penguins. I've seen.
that one.
Stop!
I've
I've seen that too.
Yes, Man. I've seen.
Horton Hears a Who. He's in that.
I didn't know he was in that one.
Really?
I've not
Who's
seen.
he?
He was in Sonic.
Oh,
I've been wanting to watch Sonic.
Dumb and Dumber.
I
love
love-
Dumb and
I
Dumber.
love that. Like our generation bullied a whole editing team into re-editing this movie for Sonic.
It's so powerful though.
Yeah, the fact that like they released the design of Sonic and it was just so terrible that everyone was like, no, change it, like we won't watch it. They pushed the release date back like I think a year and just went through and changed
Yeah.
all the editing for Sonic, which is insane.
I think it's kind of terrifying how much power we have as like
Oh yeah.
a mass, like even like for the I don't know how much you know or care about this, but like the Snyder cut of
Oh
Justice
my
League.
god, no,
Well,
yes.
yeah.
It's just like there's no
It's
reason why
insane.
that thing should have ever come out. Like that should have been like lost forever.
It's the pressure.
that the
though,
4
for,
hour
like-
one that
It's
came
four.
out?
It's 4 hours. I actually really like it. Like it's definitely not like the best superhero product ever made, but it's like really interesting as a film, and it's
think
all in
it's
4:3 too.
I think it's just the pressure from
been in a
like the
lot of
audience to
movies.
just see more content, especially with like their favorite characters and like I don't know, just like favorite stories. Like it's that pressure. I think that
Yeah.
people are like, oh, if I can get that content, like I'll release it. I don't know.
For sure. People always take it in the wrong direction too. Sorry, I feel like you're gonna say something, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off.
The Grinch.
I think you just said Jim Carrey's been in a lot of movies.
I'm
so
just
that
looking at
was
all
the
these
comment.
movies he's been in, and as you keep talking, I keep seeing, and I'm like, wow.
That-
The Grinch.
That movie's horrible. A
What
series of
movie?
unfortunate events.
A series of
The
unfortunate
TV
events.
show's much better, but the movie version was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
bad.
you're a big series of Unfortunate Events fan.
I really am. I didn't realize how much until I realized like how much I talk about it here. Like,
Yeah.
I did not think that I was that into that series. I've rewatched it 3 times since being here.
Since being
oh,
at
wow.
Syracuse?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How do you have the time to
I don't.
watch?
I don't.
I don't have the time to
You-
watch shows.
You've been watching the show.
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna ask if you were reading the book or watching the show.
No, I babysat for kids over the summer and they had the book series and they weren't old enough to read them yet. So whenever I was babysitting
Yeah.
and like they were taking a nap or they were at the pool or something, I would be like reading the book. So I read through like
Oh, cool.
3 of them, I want to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of good Netflix TV shows and shows that
We were just
all,
talking about
that we
that.
all like,
Netflix.
let's go into our main topic of the show.
Our main topic of the show this week is Netflix and hate watching because a weird, I wouldn't say weird, a common trend with Netflix shows is that they are garbage.
It's because they're putting out so many.
And what leads to garbage is a thing called hate watching, which is something that I believe that every single one of us does.
100%.
And I think that I can point to where it might have first started.
Oh, really?
Really?
It started in I don't think this is actually where it first
No, let's hear
started,
it,
but
though.
one of the first films that I believe was a hate-watched film was The Room.
Oh, I was actually going to bring up The Room
The
in this
Room
conversation.
is probably the first ever hate-watched film. I remember we watched it in a film class of mine back in high school, and I don't know, people watched it because it was so bad, and it became known as the greatest bad film ever made. And now I feel like it's a quest to find a film that's as bad as that is. And I don't think you ever will find one, but yeah, I love The Room. I think it's
I have not
hilarious.
seen
I
that.
You
actually
haven't
have
seen
the
it?
Room.
I haven't
You've
seen
never
it.
seen I have
Stop.
the
Never
Oh
seen
Hi
it.
Mark sticker on my
What's The Room? What
You
is
don't
this?
even know
No,
what The
what-
Room
I'll-
is.
You know what? I'm gonna
No.
read you a plot point
Stop.
of The
Give me a
Room.
plot point.
I'm gonna now a plot summary
Okay.
of The Room. The Room is a American independent drama film produced, directed, and executive produced and written by Tommy Wiseau, who stars in the film as well.
Oh God.
It's a melodramatic love triangle between amiable banker Johnny, his deceptive fiancée Lisa, and his conflicted best friend Mark. And there's also just a bunch of subplots. There's honestly only about 30 minutes of the movie that actually has to do with the plot.
You're kidding.
I don't even know what
Yeah.
the plot of the movie is. It's so
that
like
bad?
absurd and crazy. I mean, I think the really interesting thing is like how much power Tommy Wiseau, is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Had for the movie. Like he did everything for it.
I was
And
gonna
like
say, that's
he just appeared out of nowhere almost.
Oh,
And, like
he literally appeared out of nowhere.
like-
I read the book.
and like no one knows how he got all of the money to fund this movie because it's like a feature-length movie and there's like a lot going on in it.
So-
it's not
he
good.
just-
Did you read The Disaster Artist?
I
or
watched.
watch the
so
movie?
what happened was senior year of high school, me and my friends, we had a double feature.
Uh-huh.
We watched The Room, and directly after, we watched The Disaster Artist,
Oh, that's
Really?
awesome.
which was like the best way of consuming. those
Yeah,
two
you
Especially
have
movies.
to
if
watch
you've
The
seen that
Room
media.
first.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my God.
It's so absurd. The Disaster Artist, for anyone who doesn't know, basically covers like the making of the movie
You're kidding.
and just like all of like the behind the scenes drama.
That's the way to
and how
watch.
it
Then that
Exactly.
feels like to watch the movie and then just watch. Oh my God, this is what went on behind the scenes. Like this is what this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Disaster Artist, for me, I actually watched The Room first. Then I think it was this winter break or during quarantine, I ended up watching The Disaster Artist when it was on Netflix. And oh my God, it is so funny. It
And-
was so good.
And the culture that it's brought about is so interesting too. They're like these big like theater screenings of the movie.
Still.
And there are
Still?
and there are like specific moments that people always like do something. Like there's a moment where like there are spoons on screen and everyone
Just
brings
throws
spoons
You're
and they throw it at the
lying.
screen. Yes.
Oh my God.
I have an interesting relationship with The Room. I think
Okay.
it's freaking hilarious. And I don't know. I remember reading The Disaster Artist, and I almost started to feel bad for Greg Sestero while
Oh,
reading
yeah.
the book. And you start to honestly just hate Tommy Wiseau when you read the book because, one, he completely was just terrible to everybody throughout the cast and the crew. They went through 5 directors or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
And he
imagine
was-
him directing it, producing it, executive producing
Oh,
it, and
well, he
acting
was
in
also
it
just
and doing
dumb.
a
He
good
bought
job.
cameras, and he bought like I don't know much about cameras, but he did something stupid. He bought an HD camera and an SD camera or something like that to
Ew.
film it. Yeah, and
No,
that's why
so
it looks
weird.
so
I know.
weird.
Like, could you
And
imagine?
No, I
he
can't.
would only use green screen. That was his big thing.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
He purposely would shoot scenes where there was a perfectly great place to film it outside, and he would choose to film it in a green screen
Was the
just to do
intention-
it.
Was the intention of it to be bad? Like, was
No.
that?
No,
the
he's
intention?
just
he thinks
dumb.
It's art.
He thinks it's
like,
a work of art.
Oh my God.
And I think he's very stupid, and he still
Yeah.
thinks that it's.
You've got
he-
a lot of opinions.
Yeah, he also was really into sex scenes,
yes.
and that was a big part of the book. Was they talked about?
yeah.
Oh my
And this is
God.
actually one of the first books that ever made me laugh out loud, because there was parts about how he would just throw in a random sex scene. He would just be like,
Just
"All right,
for-
another sex scene," and everyone was
Just
just
to
like,
do
"Why?
it.
There's no need for this in the plot."
Oh
And
my God.
Oh.
he just loved having scenes of him naked in the movie.
Yeah, there's like you have like full like butt
Oh,
cheeks
it's
of
like-
Tommy
it's
That is
Wiseau.
like
so
basically an
narcissistic.
adult
Like,
film.
that is so
Yeah.
narcissistic. Just
He's
like, I
also-
don't want to be naked in this film.
Yeah, it was. It's
It's-
so funny.
The movies start like in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. There are 2 sex scenes, and both of them are like no joke, like 2 minutes long each.
Why?
I
Like,
and
there's no
oh my
reason.
gosh, and there's even one sex scene where they like reuse footage.
Oh yeah, he reused
From the very
footage.
You're
first one, yeah.
kidding.
No.
Oh, so he really just had it in there just to have
Yeah,
it in there.
Yeah,
It was so bad.
it's
dude.
it's
so good.
really uncomfortable.
You
and, like,
have to watch that movie.
I think now I have to.
You
It's so
have
good.
to. You have to
Oh my
watch it with a
God.
bunch of friends because
Yeah.
it makes the experience just so much
Okay,
better.
I think yeah.
My
But
roommate
that
has it on DVD too, so we could do that someday.
Oh
yeah.
my
Ton of
God,
this.
yeah, 100%.
that has to be, I believe, the first film that I remember in at least the 21st century that you could consider a film that people would hate watch.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
a film
Interesting.
that people didn't necessarily watch because this has a 90-something% on Rotten Tomatoes, or the critics love this. It's up for the Oscar, but no, I'm gonna watch this because people hate this,
Yeah.
and it
Interesting.
gets it's so bad, it's just good. And that brings me to the point of some Netflix series and movies I mean, the most recent one that comes to my mind has to be He's All That remake.
Oh my god.
Oh
I
my
haven't seen it yet.
gosh.
The remake of that in general, the fact that it's a remake to begin with is just already annoying enough. I don't know. It's just, why? Like, there was no need for it. No
It's
one.
only 20 years old.
It's
too.
only 20 years old. And also, it's just like, if you're going to push for original content, then don't make it a remake of already original content. Like, they
Yeah.
kind of are marketing it as, like, oh, He's All That. It's a Netflix original. It's not. You're remaking She's All That. This is not, like, I don't know. It's just the fact that the way it's marketed, too, feels very false. And it's the fact that Netflix purposely does a lot of, like, hate watch movies because they know they'll get those streams. Like, they know they'll get the views. Which is, like...
No, that's what I was about to mention. It's so like it feels so calculated. Like
Yeah.
like you
Calculated.
understand
They
that
know what
like
they're doing.
they're bringing in Addison Rae, they're remaking a movie. There are so many different like you get like the TikTok kids, you get the old people who are like, oh, this is not going to be nearly as good
Yes.
as like the original film. There and then like obviously like, our generation we're built to make fun of everything.
Oh, the clips I've seen
that
on
we
TikTok
see.
too, it's like almost like little trailers for the movie where apparently like I refuse to watch. Like I refuse to watch. She's
You
All
won't
That.
watch it?
I won't watch it. I really don't hate watching things. I feel like it's like I'd rather hear about how awful the movie is
Yeah.
than like actually give it the view. If that makes sense.
Fair.
Like it took
Fair.
me like a year to watch The Kissing Booth. I would say like I refuse to.
That's,
watch
another,
Oh.
that's another great
That's
one.
That one's a wild ride.
I
That one's
watched,
fun.
that one's a mess. That did not need a trilogy. But then I watched The Perfect Date with Noah Centineo on. Have you seen
Also
that
a
one?
terrible
No, I
one.
haven't.
Oh, The Perfect
What's the
Date.
one? Is that the one where he's the dating app one? or-
Yes, that's The Perfect Date.
That one's so bad.
That one's really bad. Like there is I can't like name one reason why that movie needs to exist other than for like hate watching it. And it puts these actors in such terrible positions too, where it's like people hate Joey King, people hate like Noah Centineo, and like it's primarily because of these movies that they're
Yeah.
in. They're like
They have to know too.
they have to know.
Right, they have to understand like the reputation that they're building
Stuff
up.
like
Oh, they
Riverdale
know.
too. Like it's like
Riverdale gets good reviews though. I feel like
I used
Oh,
to I used to be in love with Riverdale.
I
like,
used to-
like unironically, and then everyone started making fun of it, and I was like, maybe I should stop
Oh,
watching.
we had the same experience. Like, I watched pretty much like through the first season. I had a Riverdale shirt. Like I like.
Oh, you
Stop.
were really
I'm so-
into
I
it.
Oh,
was-
you.
I cut that anyway. No, I was genuinely very into it, and then it was like I watched halfway through the first season, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on here, but something's not right, and I stopped watching. But I watched a clip on TikTok the other day. Cheryl's trying to do. Cheryl's insisting that she's a form of Jesus.
From Riverdale.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and like
jeez.
she was like, Jesus turned water into wine. I'm gonna turn water into maple syrup. Like she's putting on like a magician's act, and like that's the act.
CW shows are just
It
right
was out of
behind.
pocket. It
They're-
was
They
not.
are.
CW shows are just like right here. You know, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Netflix and then CW. They're not much better.
Oh,
No,
but,
no.
but those I'll watch. Like it's CW, it's just like you can. I feel like you can check
They're-
back in at any
they're
point
good.
in time and just be like,
Wow.
they're still doing this.
No.
All the actors hate it too.
I'm
for
looking at
Riverdale.
some of
Definitely.
the.
So what I was gonna mention is I don't really hate watch things because I feel like that's bad for the soul.
Yes.
But I have a problem with sticking with bad TV shows, like things that like go sour after a little bit, and I'm like, well, I've invested all these years in it already, so I should
That's
keep
true.
watching.
That's like 13 Reasons Why. Speaking of Netflix.
Oh,
that
did you
was
do
one of
that?
those shows that was just. Yeah, I did. Because I really liked the first season. I don't know if you guys ever watched
I
the
never
first season.
I never got
watched-
into it.
I watched the first season. It felt like a lot of stuff was like, oh, we're gonna show something really graphic, like just to show something really graphic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They had to
So, like,
actually cut the
First-
last scene. at
yeah,
the
and
end.
just to show that, like we're super edgy. So I didn't love that, and I was like, I heard that a second season coming out, and I was just confused. Like, what could it
So,
be about?
yeah, basically, if you don't know, 13 Reasons Why is based off of a book. And it takes place over a 12-hour span because the whole plot is that this girl killed herself. She left these tapes. You have 12 hours to listen to the tapes. You pass them on to each of the people who are the reasons why she killed herself. The kid, Clay, had a huge crush on her, so he was really surprised as to why he was picked, and it's basically
Yeah.
kind of like a journey in his own head about why is he picked. Now, the
TV show.
TV show
You
should
got
have been
there.
stopped at the first season.
Agreed.
I thought that, yes, they did try to make things a little too graphic,
Mhm.
but it was good. It was a very well done
it felt like it followed the book.
and it followed the book. And then the second season just went all out of this world. The third season was even more out of this
I can't
world.
imagine what the third season was.
Oh, then there was a fourth season.
You're kidding.
Oh,
Swear to
really?
God.
I thought
yeah.
they stopped
and
at 3.
there was a fourth season where a character somehow
Oh, thank good.
died of AIDS, and then like a high
What?
schooler, yeah, and then if I remember correctly, they just graduate like nothing happened, and that's the ending.
They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
it
fun.
was
We
it
had a
was one of
blast.
the worst shows, and it went from getting. I remember looking at it. It got on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't the best source,
Yeah.
No, I
But-
definitely would trust IMDb more.
but I mean, on IMDb,
It's
it has a 7.5.
it does.
The whole show, or just
How do you
I
go
don't
by
know.
specific-
season?
There's definitely a way of doing it. I couldn't tell you.
Oh,
though.
okay, the 4 seasons. If we go
The
through
first
the 4
one's
seasons,
9.2.
so
it looks like.
okay,
Oh, okay.
they were getting like 5s on Rotten Tomatoes for the first. I don't know if that's really even accurate because the 3rd season was so bad.
That's just, I
Um,
can't imagine it continuing.
I
that
just also
on.
think they were really just baiting on the fact that, oh, this girl killed herself and it's shock.
Yeah.
Let's keep the shock because every season there was some huge shock. You know, the 2nd season was after one of the characters in the last episode of the show, he tries to kill himself, doesn't end up
Jesus.
killing himself. But
Oh my god.
then
That's
it's
just
like
brutal.
the return of that, and then the 2nd season's about the trial because
Bryce.
Bryce Walker
Mhm.
raped Hannah Baker. And then the 3rd season, Bryce Walker dies. He dies in the
Oh.
3rd
Mhm.
season. It's just all these things that just didn't
That's
need to
crazy.
happen. And I don't know, if I was the author of the book, I'd be a little offended that they just took my art and just trashed it.
Well, I mean, they had to have given the rights to them. They're like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want with
But
all
who
this.
would, I mean, if you were an author, would you do that to
Well,
one of
how
your...
much exposure do you want for your book? Like
Yeah.
it's a Netflix show.
I mean, it was already a pretty popular book.
That's true. I think it's
I mean,
like
but it's only going to become more popular.
More popular.
yeah.
And then you got Outer Banks.
Well, I think I was looking into this. I did my research before I came, and a lot of Netflix original shows are better than the Netflix original movies because people are more likely to not stick with a TV show. Like they won't stick with it long term. If someone's gonna watch something trashy, they'll do it for like 2 hours, an hour and a half.
That's true.
But if it's a show, they
Oh,
won't stick with it. So they tend to make better original shows than movies. Like, because
Interesting.
I mean, Outer Banks, like I personally have not seen it still, but people like a lot of my friends really love it and they really like are into it.
It's
and,
really poorly written, but
really?
it's great action, but no one talks like that in the real world, and that's my problem with it. Because
Yeah.
no one's
That's
gonna be
fair.
like, "Relax, John B," or they just always say his name. No,
No,
one
they-
talks like
no,
that.
a lot of dialogue. No, a lot
That
of
is
dialogue's awful.
screenwriting 101. No one talks with dialogue and using the name, and that's why I just really.
But
The
most,
2nd season was unbearable
really
for me. Yeah,
But
first
most
season was great
shows-
though,
most
and I'd
shows on
say
Netflix are, like,
Stranger
better.
Things, amazing.
That
Yeah,
one lost
Stranger
me.
Things is phenomenal.
And they have.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Here's the thing. I love season 1 of Stranger Things. Season 2 is fine. Season 3 is just like
I think
is going downhill, and I'm really concerned about season 4.
I think there's like a multitude of problems where it's like what you're saying. It's like the dialogue is like unbearable pretty much,
Mhm.
but a lot of times people will put up with the shows to a certain extent. I think not a lot of people know when it's the right time to end a show. Like The Good Place ended
Oh,
the perfect
Perfectly.
time.
I think shows got
Beautifully.
60 seasons max. That's
Oh.
my vote.
I completely agree. And I think it's like a lot of people want to push it because they're like, oh, they want to keep creating content. They don't really have another idea. So how can we like capitalize off this
Yeah.
like good idea I did have? But it's like it loses its spark. Like it loses the magic of
Yeah,
the show. Like,
sure.
if The Good Place went on any longer, it would have lost
No, it
its
wouldn't have been
magic.
Think
I
of
know.
The Walking Dead. That show needs to be stopped.
Yeah, isn't it ending this season?
I
This
hope
last
so.
season?
Oh my
You know?
gosh.
No, I mean the issue is the mentality for most TV shows. It's hey, like we're gonna keep pumping this out until
The Dirt was a
the
good
ratings
Netflix
drop,
show.
and then
That
we don't
was
have
a-
any. We're not getting like the money that we want for it, and then we're gonna be like, oh, cancel it, or this is your last
Yeah.
season. But by that point, you kind of like lost like the original vision of what the show is.
Yeah, exactly. Like people lose the theme along the way. Like they start out to convey this one message, and then it gets to like I feel like if it's around like the 4th or 5th season where people, if it's a bad show or like they have poor writers, it's not really gonna go past that because
Yeah.
they don't know what to do from there.
Yeah,
But I think like that's okay. Like it's like if the show needs to end, the show needs to end. Like don't try to like
I agree. Shows just need to end sometimes.
yeah, it's like don't try to
Fair.
dig your way out
Yeah.
of this hole and then just make it deeper. Like that's what a lot of shows do,
Exactly,
and then
just
that's where the
accept
hate
the
watching
fee.
comes
Yeah.
in.
accept the fee.
Yeah, well, I was gonna mention earlier is the series is whatever the plural
Whatever
is
it is.
of that word that I got trapped watching was the Arrowverse TV shows. You guys know about those? The CW.
I watched Supergirl for a long time.
I watched Arrow. I watched Flash. I watched Supergirl. I watched Legends of Tomorrow.
So
I
they're
was
all
big
from
into
the
I
same.
watched so they all exist within the same universe.
Yes.
And like
I did not know that.
I had
Yeah.
I had this this whole
do crossover
website. Yeah,
episodes.
I have this whole website that like listed what episodes like
You're
went
kidding.
where in the timeline, and so I would like hop around in Netflix watching all the different shows, and like all of them at some point like just got really bad, and
Yeah.
like. But like I had committed to watching like 4 different TV
You put
shows
so much effort
for
into
all these
this.
different seasons, so I was like watching all of them, and at a certain point, I was just like, "This is like torture. This is like this isn't fun anymore. This is like work, and this is boring."
Yeah.
But that's why they don't do it that often with TV shows. Like Netflix original TV shows are always going to tend to be better, even if to like
I
just a
agree.
certain extent.
They're at least a little bit better. They definitely have higher production
Yeah,
value.
they got that Netflix
definitely
money.
pull in actual real-time celebrities. My problem with a lot of these Netflix shows, though, is why do they cancel the good ones?
Oh.
The
I-
Society, evidence A of that. Why was that canceled? That
I
was
have
honestly
no idea.
the best Netflix original I believe that was ever made. I don't know if you guys ever
Was
watched
Grand
it.
Army
No.
on Netflix?
Grand Army was on Netflix.
I've heard fantastic things about that show, but it's the fact that these shows get one season and all of a sudden it's just done. And
It's
they obviously
because I
leave the
think-
one season like
yeah.
a cliffhanger almost because they want to continue. So
Yeah.
it's like it leaves the fans disappointed, and it's like the only content they can continue to get at that show is through Netflix, and it's like where
I'm
are
gonna
do
give you
that?
guys a list of the top 15 worst Netflix original
You're kidding.
movies according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
I'm a Rotten Tomatoes fan.
I can tell.
I'm sorry.
Oh. I
So-
hate. I don't hate Rotten Tomatoes, but it's definitely
It's
very
definitely pretty
misleading.
accurate in this
Yeah,
situation.
it's just misleading. Do you know
Oh,
about
it
that?
can no, it can be very
is.
misleading.
Yeah, because so the percentage on Rotten Tomatoes isn't like an average score. It's the percentage of positive reviews. So
Oh.
if something has a 90% positive rating, that's because like like 90% of critics gave it a 6 or higher, a 6 out of 10 or higher.
Okay.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That really changes my
That does.
perception.
Yeah.
Which is why I mean like
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Take it with a
It's
grain
like,
of salt. Fair.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
the
let's hear 'em.
Cloverfield Paradox, 21%.
I didn't watch that movie, but 10 Cloverfield Lane is so good. I was so
Oh my
excited to
God,
watch
in
it,
10 Cloverfield Lane.
and I just heard like bad things from everyone. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna watch this one.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Swords of Destiny, 20%.
I
I
don't.
don't know what that is.
The Outsider, 17%. Never heard of that.
I haven't either.
The Kissing
Yep.
Booth.
Yeah.
Never seen any of them. Honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you're missing out. That's one
Really?
that's one that I would say is,
Is
like,
it just good because it's
No,
so bad, or is it
honestly-
just genuinely good?
oh
It's,
no, it's bad. It was not good
it's a
at
very
all.
bad movie. They're not. You know what the plot is?
No, I don't.
It's pretty
actually.
much
Fill
these
me
two best friends have had these set of rules for the entire friendship,
in. Uh-huh.
and
That's
the guy,
kind of creepy.
yeah, and the guy best friend, he has his older brother who's like, the best friend's always been into, like she's really attracted to him, and pretty much they start dating in secret, and they try to keep it from her best friend, and that's
no.
pretty much it.
That's the whole plot of
That's
the show.
on and there's dancing involved, but like
Ooh,
a dance machine.
I could go for some dancing.
Oh, not in the way you think. It's like
Oh,
the dance
never mind.
machines at arcades, and like they've just been doing it since they were kids.
Oh yeah, like DDR.
Dance
kind of
Dance
stuff.
Revolution, like stuff like that.
Special correspondents, Ricky Gervais and some other dude who I do not know.
I know Ricky.
It
Gervais
It
is
follows
good.
two characters in radio journalism who decide to fake their kidnapping while on assignment in South America.
Okay.
That already sounds like a problematic.
Just a
That
feels-
tad.
premise.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A Fall from Grace. Tyler Perry. I could go on a I don't like Tyler Perry.
I've never actively
seen-
avoid watching Tyler Perry movies. for that reason.
I think he is just very unoriginal. I don't like him, and there's someone else who I don't like who uses the same idea. I was talking about it with my friends last night. Who was it? It was somebody who just always does the same thing in every single movie.
I couldn't tell you.
I,
Yeah,
I'll
I wasn't
remember who it
there.
was, but I
Josh,
Not-
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
not a
not my
Tyler
fault.
Perry fan. Yeah, it's to present a web of conspiracies and tries to hook its audience into solving mysteries.
No.
Not interested. Sextuplets. Marlon Wayans. I don't know what happened to him. He was so. The Scary Movie is such a good movie.
The disappointment in your voice.
Okay, because he made Scary Movie, great movie.
Mm,
I don't know if you guys ever saw Little Man.
Mm-mm.
no.
Fantastic movie. White Chicks.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. But I guess once he started making a haunted house and then like a haunted house 2, it's just like downward spiral.
He's the person who made superhero movie too, right?
That like superhero movie. No, that's
Sure.
The Naked Gun. Different.
Oh,
Like literally just superhero movie is the name of the movie.
with Drake Bell.
Yeah, no, that's The Naked Gun. Different.
Wow,
I'm lost.
I'm so confused.
keep going. Keep going with
Anyways.
your list.
Open House is a lowly rated horror movie that follows a mother and her son moving into a house to take care of it until it sells. Quickly being haunted by a stalking presence. Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Clay Jensen from 13 Reasons Why.
Oh.
That actor picks really bad things to
He's got
star
great
in.
music. He's in a band.
He's got
great music.
Okay, someone else who I think has just shot himself in the foot with his career, Adam Sandler and David Spade. Sandler and Spade take. This is in Sandler. The Do-Over. Adam Sandler and David Spade play two men who decide to fake their own deaths. As you may have guessed, however, the new identities they assume only make their lives more miserable. With every passing minute, though, the film left critics miserable too. The last thing he wanted.
That's clever.
5%. What were you saying?
I was gonna ask, is Hubie Halloween on that list?
No.
That's one of the few movies that I've hate watched. It is so miserable.
Really?
Adam
Really?
Sandler, like, I mean, I think he does his voice in a lot of movies, but he like puts on his voice. Like, I don't know what it is,
I
but
know.
but the entire movie. He
Yeah.
talks like that,
Yeah.
and it's just like a whole movie of like all of his buddies, and they just make like crude, stupid jokes.
I'm so serious
that
though. Like
mean-
he's
don't
got
mean
that
anything.
gig. He's got that gig perfectly. He gets all his
Yeah.
films. He goes to an island. He gets to wear his own clothes. He
Yes,
gets
his
to like
friends.
his wife's like Drew Barrymore. Like it's hysterical.
He's
Like,
just partying.
He's got his gigs like downright.
And he did Uncut Gems and should have won an Academy Award
He
for
did,
that too.
yeah.
He's a great actor when he wants to be.
What he wants to be.
It's
When he
interesting.
wants to be. Emphasis on that.
Yeah.
This one is The Last Thing He Wanted. When it comes to star power, this Netflix original has it in its spades. The cast is led by Oscar winners Anne Hathaway and Ben Affleck.
You're kidding.
The plot may sound solid, even riveting. However, critics have noted that the film is simply confusing and frustrating. That's my life. But
Hey,
there
Joe.
are
We don't have
some
time to get into
interesting
that.
details that are easy to miss in the movie. Naked by Marlon Wayans again, 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%.
Movie that attempts Groundhog Day plot that sees a character relive a particular moment. I think that plot is overused in movies.
Oh, hold
Yeah.
on, wait, hold on.
Now I think Groundhog Day is amazing.
Palm Springs, though, or whatever the movie is, with Andy Samberg. Is it Palm Springs?
Yes, it's Palm Springs.
That movie is so good.
It was good. It was literally boring though.
What? It was not boring.
I don't know. I thought
that movie
it was
was so
boring.
much
I'm
fun.
gonna just say it.
And
I thought it was
and
boring.
like it's so
I'm
much.
gonna leave. Do you guys want to
It's
hash this out?
yeah. I think
We can talk after the show.
No. I mean, like, here's the thing. Obviously, like the Groundhog Day, plot line is like used a lot. It's in a lot of films, but I feel like what's it called? Palm Springs.
It's a great. It does
like
it great.
Like it's the first time that like two people are locked together, and so it's more
Yeah.
about their relationship than like
I kind of like that.
just like the conceit of it repeating.
I do
I
think
think
it's
it's really
worth
cute.
watching.
I
If
think
you're
it's fun.
If you're gonna have that plot point, I think like the Groundhog Day kind of effect, I think you definitely have to have more to it than
Switch
just
it up.
like the yeah.
And they did that. I will
Which I'm
I will
glad
say
about.
that was
Yeah.
I just didn't like it because I thought it was boring. I didn't not like it because it used the Groundhog
That's
Gotcha.
fair. Oh, okay,
That's
that's
fair.
fair. Hey,
Uh,
Joe. Speaking of movies that I enjoy, can we lighten it up a little bit? This is like taking like points away from my soul. I feel like I'm dying a
Yes.
little bit on the inside.
Anyways,
Can
yes.
So
We will move away. from this.
tangentially related to
Netflix.
hate watching.
Hate watching.
films
Yes.
are guilty pleasures.
I love guilty pleasures. I mean,
Ooh.
my type of movie is what most would consider a guilty pleasure. I do
Mhm.
not like movies that are critically acclaimed. One of my favorite movies of all time, we talked about this, is Jackass,
Yeah.
Really?
which is the definition of a guilty pleasure. I also really like the original scary movies, like with Marlon Wayans and all
Gotcha.
that. I love just a lot of guilty pleasure movies.
I love those mockumentary style movies like Best in Show, like
Oh my
Waiting-
gosh, I
Waiting
love
for
Best in
I
Show.
love Best in Show.
You ever seen
Phenomenal.
Oh, it's
Waiting for
a
Goffman.
dog.
Waiting for Goffman, I think is better
I
than
don't
Best
think I've
in Show.
seen that.
Oh my god, they did this whole series of them. There's a bunch. There's like a folk singers. What my dad and I used to watch them. And it's,
What is it called? Waiting for.
Waiting for Goffman. It's hysterical.
Waiting for Goffman.
Yeah, the whole idea is like there's this small acting troupe in this small town, and this Broadway producer is supposed to come to their opening night show,
Oh no.
and that's the whole plot.
And it's a lot of the same cast from.
It's a lot of
Best in
same
Show?
cast. It's phenomenal. Like I think it's really well done. That and Best in Show are just top notch. They're so good. What do you say like your guilty pleasure shows are?
My favorite guilty
Movies.
pleasure show. Oh, I don't know about. Hold on. Yeah, no.
Movie
They're-
show.
They're mostly guilty pleasure shows.
Okay.
My favorite one is always Extraordinary Playlist. Have you guys seen it?
I've seen
not.
the commercials for that.
It
Is
is-
that the Pitch Perfect guys in that?
Yeah,
Skylar Astin?
Skylar Astin's in it.
Skylar
It
Astin.
is like it's like the weirdest premise for a TV show.
I kind of love it.
There's this girl played by Jane Levy, I think is her name, and she's like basically in this like ultrasound machine. She's getting like a brain scan.
Yeah.
And then there's an earthquake, and they're playing like Spotify, and so the earthquake causes the machine to freak out, and the
You're
computer with
lying.
Spotify to freak out, and so she walks out, and now when she walks past people, she can hear their inner thoughts,
But it's in song.
but in song. It
I
is
didn't know
like
that's how that happened.
it is the
Oh my
silliest
God.
thing, but it makes me
That's so
so happy.
silly.
And honestly, I think the show at times can be really, really smart. Like I'm gonna spoil the first episode
Okay.
if
Do
that's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
She has her dad is, I don't know exactly what disease he has, but he's paralyzed. He can't talk, can't move, can't anything, right? And so they're kind of like, the family's kind of like losing hope, not really knowing how to like relate to him anymore. And Zoe's like at like her darkest moment in the show, and all of a sudden her dad like stands up and starts singing because she can hear his thoughts.
That's sweet.
Now. And so it's, I mean, like she can't communicate with him exactly, but now
that's
she can
sweet.
understand. And like at that moment, I was like, this like really like weird premise for a show has sold me.
That would hook me right
That
there.
would
Like
hook
that.
me.
And there's a
as
love
well.
triangle. It is like the perfect
That's
like
sweet.
just
It's
like just like trash TV that just makes me happy.
I like that. That's good. That's like
That is a good
yeah.
show. What is your guilty pleasure movie aside from the ones you mentioned?
I would say probably like I don't want to call them like guilty pleasures because I generally do like I'm not like ashamed to say I like them, but I would say definitely like a lot of like really cheesy rom-coms. Like I would definitely say
Yeah.
see The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler.
Great.
I love
Okay,
that movie.
like that's good Adam Sandler.
But that's my
you
point.
know?
So it's like
It
I
was-
don't know. I wouldn't say it's like a guilty pleasure, but like that was like introduced to me as a guilty pleasure movie. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is phenomenal. Yeah, I don't know. I feel
I
like
really
it's
like
just
The
like
Interview. That's one that people consider.
The Interview.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Four Weddings and a Funeral. Death at a Funeral. Another movie.
John Tucker Must Die. I think is a really
John Tucker.
that's a
Must
big
Die.
one. That I think. I love that movie. The whole premise is like this guy's been like cheating on like all these girls and kind of ruining, like breaking their hearts.
Yeah.
And this one girl that he's like really into, like all his ex-girlfriends go to her and are like, no, like you're gonna set him up and we're gonna take him down.
Oh,
And
they're
it's just,
actually
like,
gonna kill him.
No.
Oh,
Like, no,
oh.
no. Like they just really mess with his life and they really mess with him and like, but it's kind of sweet because like he's falling for her at the same time. It's
Aw.
interesting. It's definitely very cheesy.
My guilty pleasure growing up was Mean Girls. Still is.
I feel like that's not a guilty pleasure.
Well,
though,
Mean
right? I
Girls-
feel like a lot of
Mean
people
Girls is-
love
when
Mean
when you're in
Girls.
middle
Classic.
school and
Yeah.
you go and tell people my favorite movies, Mean Girls, you might get bullied a little
Pitch
bit.
Perfect. Pitch
Oh,
Perfect.
Pitch Perfect's on my list.
love-
Oh, I love the
You
Pitch.
don't like Pitch Perfect?
I've never seen Pitch Perfect, but everyone says I look like Adam Devine, and I get really
You
offended.
No.
I would not say that, but you
I've
have
heard
to
that
watch
many
Pitch Perfect.
times.
They are
I
so-
hate that. People always say
Just
I
for
look like
reference, he's
him.
looking up Adam Devine right
This
now.
guy. I get this
No,
guy that I
I-
look like him a lot, and
I
it makes me
I don't,
very
wait, actually,
upset.
wait, take off the glasses. I gotta see
I
it.
know,
I'm
I
so
gotta
sorry.
see it.
Exactly. That's why I hate the
It's not
comparison.
that. Watch Pitch Perfect though. Oh my god.
I'll give
don't,
it a
I-
watch.
okay.
Don't put
Give
it
a
off
watch.
anymore.
So I'm gonna admit something embarrassing to you guys.
Okay.
I own all 3 movies on Blu-ray.
I'm
that's
not-
okay.
I'm-
Like-
I'm-
The last movie is like not good.
the last movie's horrible.
It's really
How bad is it?
The last movie's really bad. Did I see it with my mom in theaters? 100%.
Yeah.
Did we cry? Yes, 100%.
Stop.
No.
Oh.
My mom and I saw it in theaters. We love the Pitch Perfect franchise.
When
So-
did the third one come out?
You know, it was senior year of high school, so 28.
17.
Oh, never mind. I guess it
Wow.
was my junior year then.
Anyways,
No. So like Robert Wilson plays the character Fat Amy in the show. Or no, the movie.
yes, I know parts of this.
So-
movie, yeah.
So
In the third movie, it
So
gets
silly.
revealed that like her dad is like he's not a spy.
he is a spy.
he's
And
a-
she,
No, I mean he has some.
he's like a spy, but also a con man. And she's
Yeah.
had spy training apparently her entire childhood.
Oh.
So now she's like this action movie spy-esque abilities. And you're just expected to believe that. But also,
Oh.
Yeah.
they're touring with a military group. And DJ Khaled's like judging the tour.
Why is DJ Khaled in Pitch Perfect?
I don't want to talk about it, but like he's judging their performances, and whoever like wins at the end gets to perform with him.
Oh.
It's so weird. Like it's like
It-
there's no plot to the movie. It's just them singing. Like that's it.
But the songs in the
They're
movies
so
are
good.
bops. They're so good. They're so
the first riff off.
Stop.
the
Yes.
first.
Oh,
The
the
first-
riff.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey! I have seen the first riff off.
Okay, that's you know what
That's
that
good.
redeems you.
Yeah.
I would say that's
I've seen
redeeming.
the first riff
The
off.
riff off has
okay?
actually ruined some songs for me.
Yeah, I would
Like,
agree.
I can't sing. Not that I'm singing whatever the Hey Mickey all the time.
I was singing like a virgin earlier this
But, like-
today
but,
actually.
but like when I sing those songs, like they all
I
blend
transition into the next one.
into the riff off. It's
Yes.
it's never the full song.
Nope, never.
My guilty pleasure, not to transition, because
Let's choose
love
Yeah, go ahead.
Pitch Perfect. Oh, I'm a little embarrassed to say this one.
Oh,
I'm really
we-
good.
I'm
I
so
just- I
excited.
just had a
Cat in the
thought.
Hat. I love Cat in the Hat. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
I think it's so. I love Mike
That is
Myers.
a bold statement, I would say.
All right, it's misunderstood. Okay, it was.
It's misunderstood.
They pitched it wrong.
It's the
It's
Cat
not
in the
for
Hat.
kids. It's not for kids. It's an adult comedy movie.
I would agree with that, actually. It is not
If
for
you
kids.
look at it as a comedy movie for not kids, it's pretty funny.
That is not a kid's movie.
It is disturbing if you're a child.
I've never
watching
seen
that.
it, but just like the passion that you had behind it.
Because
So,
It was,
just like,
was so
in
strong.
context, I worked at a camp this summer, and it was musical week, and there's Dr. Seussical, and I thought it'd be a great excuse to go out and buy a a Cat in the Hat costume, and I actually wore a Cat in the Hat costume to work.
That sounds terrifying.
I was gonna say that's sweet.
The
I would have
kids-
freaked out.
I mean, the
Oh,
kids,
that's
it was mixed reviews. Some kids were like,
It was
why is this
mixed
man in the Cat in the Hat costume? And other kids were like, oh, this is funny. But for me, I really love Cat in the Hat. I think it's so funny. I will sometimes just look up on YouTube Cat in the Hat clip.
Aw,
I really like
I
the
kind of
part
love that.
Cat in the
where
Hat clip.
he's doing the cooking show, and there's a scene where he's yelling. It's like two cats, and one cat is from Cheshire, England. And he's doing a cooking show, and they're making this thing. They call it the Cupcakeinator, and then basically,
You're so into it.
oh, I'm so into it. I
You're
love this
so
movie.
into it.
So basically, the Cupcakeinator can make anything into cupcakes.
Okay.
And so he would go, anything, and then he'd say anything, and then he'd go, anything, and he'd say anything.
I've seen
And
this,
then
yeah.
the mad Cat in the Hat goes, I'm gonna get you, and I'll make it look like an accident. And then all of a sudden he takes his knife and tries to slam it down on the table, but cuts his tail. And then they're like, Cat, your tail. And he goes, what? And he goes, looks like I've cut off my tail. And then he goes, son of a, and then it just bleeps. And then there's another scene where he gets like hit in the male body parts, and then Easy Like Sunday Morning comes on in like a montage. And then that kid from that one movie, that one TV show. Oh my gosh.
All I've seen of the Cat in the Hat has been it's like a 2-hour long YouTube review.
About how bad it is.
It's literally like the people watching the movie, and you're just watching them watch the movie, but their reactions, like I walked in, my friends were just watching it. And I was like, why is this what you're watching?
Because it's a
It
brilliant
was
movie.
hysterical. Like no, they were watching the review of people watching the movie.
It's
That's all I've seen.
It doesn't
of the Cat.
deserve this much. There's someone else who's in it that's really funny. What is his name?
I've seen that moment where
I would
it's
help you,
like,
but I don't have internet.
Beans from that
Beans
one
is
show.
in it,
Beans is
yeah.
in it. I don't know his name, but I just know him as Beans.
Beans.
Mike Myers is in it. Alec Baldwin's in it. It has a 9% on Rotten
Baldwin's in
Tomatoes,
it.
4 on IMDb. I don't know. I just love it. I
That's
love
so
every
funny.
part of it.
I don't understand.
Dakota Fanning's in it.
I have a philosophical question for you guys.
Okay.
What is it?
Is there such a thing as a guilty pleasure movie?
That's what I was saying before. I don't think there is.
Like is it so bad for us to like movies that are different from other people's tastes?
No.
I think
In
it's more
2021,
so-
no.
I think it's more so just liking movies that are like, they're not good movies. Like I think that's a big part of it. Is like,
yeah.
I think it's like, it's not like we're trying to defend it and be like, oh, like this is like critically acclaimed, like this is like the most phenomenal movie. It's like, this is not a good movie. This is still my favorite movie. Like I love it, and
Yeah.
I'm still involved with film and stuff like that. So I think it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you call it a guilty pleasure, people feel the need to
Also-
hide it. But I'd rather just know what people like.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with her on that point. I also think that I'd rather listen and talk to someone who's interested in film, whose favorite films aren't just Pulp Fiction,
Red flag.
Wolf of Wall Street, The Godfather,
Red flag.
Parasite, like the
Yeah.
most critically acclaimed
Yeah.
films of all time. You know what I mean? I'd rather talk to someone who
Whose favorite movie is The Cat in the Hat?
maybe if that's their favorite movie. I don't know. Or if they like, maybe they like, I don't know, The Room.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I feel like the culture that we bring up within this little community of ours is you have to like these certain films, otherwise something is wrong with
Oh,
you.
yes.
Yes.
No, I know.
And like if you have a different opinion, something that can't be right or wrong, that means that you are uneducated.
Well,
or
for
don't know
example-
Yeah.
anything.
Like,
A lot of people say that. It's
Yeah.
like it's not true.
I don't want to talk to someone whose favorite movie is Casablanca. I'm sorry. I have no interest.
That was so aggressive.
Or like Citizen Kane. Like,
Citizen
they're
Kane
great
is a good
movies.
movie,
They're
but
very
not
good
good.
movies.
So is
It's just
Casablanca,
like,
but-
I feel like it's more. So
they
people
are.
that-
I just feel like you're just trying too hard.
We
you
gotta
know?
transition
Mhm.
away from, I'd say, the phrase like guilty pleasure, more so just like what's a movie that like It's
You
not
like.
great, but you've watched it probably a million times, and you can't explain why. Like I like,
Cat in the
I
Hat.
got my letterboxd up here while we're talking. Literally, the Lorax I've seen probably like, I've seen at least.
I see
3
Jack
times
and
this
Jill on that
year.
list too.
Jack
I see
and Jill's
Jack and Jill. I see
Jack and Jill's
50 First
phenomenal.
Dates. I see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Stop looking.
Wait, wait.
No, role
Cars
models.
too.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
Lemonade
see-
Mouth though.
Let me mouth. Dinner for
Was it
Schmucks.
Bob?
Did you know that kid was 14 when they filmed Lemonade Mouth? I still
Yeah, I
can't
did
get
actually.
over
Charlie.
that.
What kid?
I thought he was 13.
What kid?
Charlie, the drummer.
He was
14 when
14.
they
Yeah.
filmed it.
I mean, I haven't seen it in forever, but that man looked like a whole man to me.
Bedtime
I
Stories.
thought he was a man.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I've re-seen a million times. Oh, you know what I watched?
You
for the
watched
first
Tintin
time?
recently?
No, I never saw.
You
Tintin.
did. I'm
I-
looking at your letterbox.
Me? I did not watch Tintin recently.
It says Josh Jones liked Nick's 2.5 review of
Oh,
The Adventures
no,
of
Well,
Tintin.
that-
he liked the review.
I like
of
someone's
someone.
Oh, my
reviewing
bad.
Tintin.
I'm not big
Here's
on
the thing.
letterbox.
I used to love Tintin, and then so Nick used to be my co-head of writing last year
Mhm.
when I was in that position, and I really value his opinion on most everything.
Yeah.
And I used to love Tintin, and then I saw that he only gave it a 2.5 stars, and it kind of broke my heart. I
I
was
feel
like,
like that would kind of break my heart a little bit too.
I was like, is Tintin not a good movie?
Did you watch
I've never seen Tintin. I
I've
will
never seen it
say.
either.
So I didn't see
It's
the
so beautiful.
I didn't see the Dear Evan Hansen movie, but I screenshotted this review on Letterboxd. This is how long it is. It's these 2 pages.
That's intense.
It was
Oh,
the most well thought out and funniest review of a movie I think I've ever seen.
is it
Probably
like
the most remarkable thing about the film is that you really never get used to the fact that he looks like that.
Literally. It was just phenomenal. It was just
Is it that bad of a movie?
I heard it's really bad.
I've
What
heard
makes
really
Dear
bad
Evan
things
Hansen a
about it. I haven't
true
seen it,
marvel,
but-
though, is how perfectly Platt's present works to amplify the horror of a story so sociopathic that only people on Broadway can find it endearing and uplifting.
oh
yeah,
my-
that movie did not need to
oh.
be made.
It
I-
was,
That's
yeah.
that's like an attack on Broadway fans
No, but
too.
it was.
So
long
what
overdue.
is the hate? I don't even know what the original movie's about.
It's I mean it's
Or the original play.
the original musical is about this person who commits suicide.
Uh-huh.
But due to some mix-ups, everyone thinks that Evan was friends with him, even though he's kind of like, even though they were both loners and they didn't really have friends.
Oh.
And so the family's like, oh my gosh, like you were friends with our son. Please tell us so much more about him because we never got to like know
Mhm.
him as much in these
Like
later
let
years.
us get closer to
Yeah.
our son.
And so he gets kind of trapped in this.
He goes along with it.
Yeah, of having to
Oh,
pretend
so
like
he's just
like
psychopath.
He stages these emails between him and like
What?
his
Yeah.
friend, his best friend, in quotes, and just also because he really has a big crush on the guy's sister, and he sings her this song, and I forget what it's called.
Oh,
So there's a crush
I
on
could
Evan
tell her.
Hansen.
If I could tell
That
her,
song is so good though.
but the premise of it's him telling
Yeah.
the guy's sister like how all the things that her dead brother like liked about her, but it's just things that he himself
Yeah.
likes about the guy's sister.
Oh my gosh.
So
Here's the I haven't seen, so I only watched the first half of the Dear Evan Hansen bootleg, not to.
Is it that bad?
No.
no, it's not.
I just didn't get to finish it, but I could buy into the premise. Like the premise, like in of itself, sounds really problematic and like really like disturbing.
Mhm.
But like
It's
the way
Broadway,
that
what is it?
the way that it's set up, I was like, okay, I can buy into this. I understand like why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe I don't agree with it, but like I can see it. And obviously I haven't seen the movie, so I can't say anything about it. But I've heard that their selling of the inciting incident in the premise isn't as convincing.
I've
And
heard-
maybe
yeah.
it's just because it is a movie this time, and like it is naturally going to have a different feel than if it's on like a stage.
I've heard they cut a lot of songs though, and also he just like it's just the fact that Ben Platt insisted on playing Evan. Like he was like, oh, like people associate the show with me. Like no one else really can play it as well. Like in the movie, you won't get views. 5 other actors have played.
And he also just
Evan
does
Hansen.
not.
Yeah,
He's just too old.
isn't his dad like executive producer or something?
He's the executive producer. I'm pretty
Oh, he
sure.
is.
His boyfriend played was another actor who played Evan Hansen on Broadway. So it's like discrediting all these other actors' work.
Even discredited his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. He began dating Noah Galvin, who replaced him in the titular.
The film's producer is his
role.
father.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is his dad a huge Mark Platt? I guess is.
I don't know,
Platt
but
is a
that's
huge-
off topic. But again,
Anyways,
that's another
yeah.
movie I think people are gonna hate watch a lot. Like this person feels like they really only hate watch Dear Evan Hansen because
Yeah.
of like even when they show like the promo, like he just looks so old compared to them, and that really takes away from it too. But it's like I mean, a hate watch is a watch. Like, it's
It's
still
a
a stream.
watch.
It's still a view. You're still making money off of
But
it.
they're
Yeah.
gonna make money.
And
Yeah.
It's kind of like, if it's really that bad, why are you watching it? Why are you giving them money?
exactly like
Why are you giving them a platform?
we are the problem, or maybe not like the general.
But we're the reason
we.
this content is still
Yeah.
being created. Because we're
Facts.
still watching it.
Yeah. We
Facts.
we vote with our wallet and
Yeah.
with our time.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are coming towards the end of our
We are.
episode, and I
Speaking
think
of
it's
time.
time to go to our last usual segment,
The
movie
suggestion recommendations.
suggestion recommendation.
we need a name for it.
Yeah,
Joe kind of messed up a little.
I kind of
bit.
messed up this week.
Just
Listen,
a little smidgen,
there's a
the
lot of
first-
personal things that occurred this week
which
that
is
did not
understandable.
allow me to watch the movies, but nevertheless, I was a little lazy. Didn't get around to
Very
watching.
understandable. It
Logan.
happens.
But,
Just-
Josh, did you watch Pineapple Express?
I took notes on Pineapple
Oh,
Express.
let's hear them.
Let's hear him.
In my flu shot like delirium that I
Yes.
had yesterday, I decided to lie down and watch this movie. Here's the thing. I laughed maybe 5 times.
That's it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I really wanted to buy into this movie. I really wanted to enjoy it.
I'm very disappointed in
but
myself.
I don't think that this style is for me. I
Okay.
can see the appeal.
Fair.
But I think for me it's personally a bit too crude.
Uh-huh.
And like at times that don't seem not like that they're inappropriate, obviously, if the crude jokes are gonna be quote unquote inappropriate. But like it just felt like it was out of nowhere sometimes. Like for instance, this is gonna be very graphic, I apologize. Maybe we'll
Huge trigger warning on this entire episode.
and maybe we'll cut this. But there's a joke where someone has a cold sore and they refer to having eaten candy out of an adult performer's private parts.
Oh.
Okay.
And I'm like, why is this in here? Like, this doesn't add to my enjoyment of the movie. It just kind of like disgusts me a little bit. And then
That's kind of gross.
it
is
is
pretty gross.
And then the end of the movie tries to sell you that all the characters are best friends. And there's even like this like sad moment where like they like kind of like break up and they're like, you know,
What?
not hanging out anymore or like not going on this crazy adventure with one another. And it just doesn't do it for me.
Wow.
I probably should say what the premise of the movie is. I haven't mentioned this.
Maybe
that
Basi-
for people who haven't seen such a classic.
Basically, Seth Rogen plays someone who, I forget what it is, but he's basically like serving people their like court orders. And James Franco is his drug dealer, and you know he's out. He gets weed from James Franco, and he spots a murder.
Yeah.
Oh.
And leaves his joint on the ground, and so they track him down because the person who he was supposed to serve, like, is like also distributing the weed, so he like immediately recognized who it was, and there's only a select few people
Oh.
who have that strain. Anyway, they end up like hunting them down throughout the entire movie, and I never felt the tension. I never felt the excitement. I never really cared about the characters, and like
You weren't into it.
You weren't into it.
I
Fair,
never bought
fair.
into what the
But you
movie was
tried
trying
to
to
be
do.
into
But you know what? You tried, and that's
I
all
did.
I can say, and I
Mhm.
appreciate that.
I got you. I did laugh a couple times though. There were a couple jokes that did
Did you
get
write
me.
down when you left?
I'm trying to see if there's anything that
Decipher
it's
your notes.
the one joke that I wrote down that I laughed at. I don't want to repeat out of context.
No worries.
We cannot repeat it out of context. We could talk about it off air.
Yeah,
He laughed at something.
I laughed at probably 5 things.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what? That's fair. I did not get a chance to watch Logan, but I have a movie for you for this week.
Do you?
You have 2 for me, I'm assuming.
I mean, so
Or 1
y-
plus.
You're gonna finish Logan, and I have a list of movies, and I can't decide what I want to give you on it.
Do your guests get to pick which movie if you can't decide?
Do you
Yes,
want
why don't we
to?
go
I
with
do.
that?
You.
While you're picking, I'll give you the movie.
Yeah, what's my movie?
I want you to watch Ted. Have you seen Ted?
No, I haven't seen Ted, but I'm really not excited for it. Okay, I'll give him that one.
Let's see. What did you give me?
So Claudia decided that your movie is Little Women.
You know what? Let's do it.
I love Little Women.
Logan and
I
Little
hope you
Woman.
love it.
I
Oh,
hope
but
you love Ted
They're
too.
I'm. Here's the thing. Maybe maybe I should buy more into it, but I'm so concerned. I'm so.
Claudia, I think we were talking about this. I think it's time we give you a movie to watch.
Okay.
Oh.
You can let us know.
Uh huh.
I want you to watch. Have you seen Ted?
No.
I want you to watch Ted.
I want a new movie.
Do you want to?
And Josh, why don't we give her 2 movies?
We can
okay,
have.
okay,
You
let's
could
go.
each give her a movie.
Get 2 movies.
Oh, so
You give her a movie.
should I give you what movie on these
I
lists?
haven't seen Little Women. I haven't
You haven't seen Little Women
No.
either?
So you gotta watch You gotta watch both of the movies that
watch
have been
both the movies.
suggested.
Oh my! Wait, you suggested Little Women having not seen it?
I love Florence Pugh. I've heard phenomenal things. I
Well,
tried.
That's fine. I do love that movie.
Okay, so you got 2 movies to watch.
I just searched Ted and Little Women for some reason. I meant to make a note of it, but
I'll-
I just searched it
And just
instead.
letting you both know, I watch either of these movies with you guys, assuming that we have time.
I would, yeah.
Why don't we do that?
I'll watch Ted with someone to like help me bear through the experience, and Little Woman with someone because
Ted
I
is
want
a
to. I'm sorry.
classic.
I know.
It's a
again,
classic.
It's unfair of me because I'm already placing my opinions on a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I know. However,
I believe it's better than
Where can I watch Little
Pineapple
Women?
Express.
okay. What Little Women?
Yeah.
There might not be anywhere you have it.
Hulu.
Is it on Hulu?
Yeah.
Is it on Hulu?
I also own the movie.
Okay. We'll figure this out afterwards. I don't want to.
So
We
yeah,
will.
yeah, we will, of course.
All right. Well, that was episode
Anyway,
3.
thank
A
you
great
so much
episode.
for tuning in to this very chaotic episode.
Yes.
to say
I
the
had a
least.
blast.
We talked about things we loved. We talked about things that we hated. We talked about things in between.
But at the end of the day, I love you guys, and that's all.
Oh my
that matters.
gosh.
We're a
I love you
family,
guys
and
too.
And I
That's
love
beautiful.
this podcast.
Wait, hold on, cue each.
Oh,
And I
oh.
love Autonomous
awesome.
Productions. Make sure to follow us on Instagram.
Oh, and make sure that you tune into this podcast on both Spotify and YouTube. On YouTube, it's going to be on the Autonomous Productions YouTube account.
We also have an upcoming production.
Yes.
a
Talk about
film
that, production director.
That is called Intervention of a Clown. It follows these 2 friends intervening into their other best friend as he enters the room in full clown makeup and full costume, and it just follows the hijinks that ensue from there.
That is
It's
actually
gonna
really
be-
funny.
It's gonna be a great
exciting.
production.
That's
We're very
actually really
excited. So we'll also talk about that release date, and then we have script submissions coming in right now for our next film. So,
Yes.
I mean, if you're watching,
Exciting
send one
stuff.
in. We'll be very excited.
By the time this comes out, that will probably already have passed.
We
But
still need
but
more.
but
we
please
still
always
need more.
always send
we
in
still
scripts.
need more.
At the Autonomous Productions at gmail.com.
Yep.
Autonomous
Email.
Productions.
I didn't really say that correctly, but you know what I mean. Hopefully.
Follow us on the Instagram. That is the key to getting your script.
Yes.
It's autonomous_.
Yes. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up. Great episode. I'm Joe.
I'm Josh. Thanks for joining us, Claudia.
Thank
Of
you.
course,
yes.
I had a great time. I
You
had
were
a blast.
awesome.
Yeah, you're
Another
great.
great guest.
A lot of fun.
What a great.
A lot of fun. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Peace.
See y'all.